Derek Munson's Enemy Pie is a charming and insightful picture book that gently explores the themes of conflict, misunderstanding, and the power of friendship. This book is more than just a tale about two children. It's a story that introduces young readers to the complexities of human interaction, helping them understand how initial perceptions can be challenged, leading to a more empathetic worldview. Through humor, creativity, and a touch of whimsy, Munson teaches children essential life lessons while providing adults with a reminder of the power of empathy, growth, and understanding. Plot overview. The story centers on a young boy who, like many kids, is initially quick to judge others and find himself at odds with a new neighbor. When Jeremy, the enemy, moves in next door, the narrator immediately feels threatened. Jeremy is loud, obnoxious, and does things that irritate the protagonist, from taking the best seat at school to generally being a nuisance. The narrator's dislike grows with every passing day, and he feels sure that Jeremy is a bad person. However, this is not just a story about rivalry. It's a tale of learning, growing, and understanding the world from another perspective. The narrator, feeling increasingly upset, confides in his father, hoping for a solution to the problem of his enemy. His father listens patiently and, without offering a typical solution, introduces the idea of an enemy pie. The father's suggestion is humorous and mysterious. He claims that an enemy pie will solve the problem, but he insists that the narrator must follow the secret recipe step by step. The ingredients are unusual and somewhat strange: dirt, rosemary, and other ingredients that don't seem to belong in a pie at all. The process of making the pie becomes an adventure, one that's full of suspense and anticipation, as the narrator begins to wonder if his father knows something he doesn't. The key turning point happens when the boy invites Jeremy over to share the pie. Initially reluctant, Jeremy soon agrees to try it, and they both spend time together, slowly breaking down the walls of their rivalry. As the two boys interact, the true power of the pie emerges. It forces them into a situation where they must communicate and learn about each other. In the end, Jeremy is no longer the enemy, and the two boys start a budding friendship. The story concludes with the realization that sometimes, in order to make a friend, you must step outside of your comfort zone and look past initial judgments. Character development. The strength of Enemy Pie lies in its rich character development, particularly the transformation of the narrator. At the start of the book, the narrator is full of resentment and frustration toward Jeremy. His emotions are based on surface-level experiences, things like Jeremy's loud behavior and his apparent arrogance. As the story progresses, however, the narrator begins to question his assumptions. His relationship with his father provides an emotional anchor, as the father offers both wisdom and humor without forcing his son into any particular mold. This allows the narrator to grow organically. Jeremy, although not as deeply explored, is the catalyst for the narrator's growth. The reader gets a sense of his personality primarily through his actions, but he also evolves throughout the story. At first, Jeremy is seen as a source of irritation, but as the two boys spend time together, the reader can see that Jeremy is, in many ways, just another child trying to navigate the complexities of new social dynamics. His willingness to join the narrator in sharing the enemy pie demonstrates openness and a desire for connection. By the end of the book, Jeremy's presence isn't antagonistic anymore. Instead, he represents the opportunity for a new friendship. The father plays a crucial role in the story, although he remains largely in the background. His calm and wise demeanor offer the narrator the emotional space to grow. Rather than directly solving the problem, the father gives the narrator the tools to resolve the issue on his own. This is a powerful parenting lesson. Sometimes, children need to be guided, not fixed, and it's through their own experiences that they learn best. Themes and lessons. Enemy Pie touches on several important themes, such as conflict resolution, friendship, and empathy. These themes are explored through the interactions between the narrator and Jeremy, as well as the guidance the narrator receives from his father. Understanding and empathy. The central theme of the book is the importance of understanding others. The narrator starts off viewing Jeremy as an enemy based on external behaviors and judgments. He assumes that Jeremy's actions, whether it's taking the best seat at school or being overly loud, are signs of malice. In truth, Jeremy is simply another child who is trying to fit in and figure out his place in the world, just like the narrator. The enemy pie becomes a metaphor for empathy. As the narrator spends time with Jeremy, he learns to see past his preconceived notions and understand Jeremy's perspective. This process of getting to know someone is not instantaneous, and it requires patience and an open mind. Ultimately, the narrator's perception of Jeremy changes from one of animosity to one of friendship. This shift in perspective is crucial in helping children understand that conflict is often rooted in misunderstandings or lack of communication, rather than actual ill will. The power of forgiveness. Another key theme in the book is the power of forgiveness. Although the narrator is initially furious with Jeremy, he comes to realize that holding on to negative feelings only creates more distance. The enemy pie provides a playful, symbolic way of releasing these negative emotions. Instead of harboring anger, the narrator is encouraged to face his feelings head-on and allow for the possibility of reconciliation. The act of spending time together over a shared experience, like eating a pie, becomes a way to mend the relationship and pave the way for friendship. Conflict resolution. Enemy pie teaches a very simple yet profound lesson about conflict resolution. The story demonstrates that conflicts are rarely solved through anger or avoidance. Instead, taking the time to understand the other person's point of view and engaging in open dialogue can lead to a deeper understanding and, ultimately, resolution. The book's playful approach to conflict, using a pie as a solution, reminds readers that resolving differences doesn't always require grand gestures or confrontations. Sometimes, it's as simple as taking the first step toward opening up to someone. Friendship and trust. The evolving relationship between the narrator and Jeremy is also an exploration of how friendships are built. Trust plays an important role in the development of their bond. The narrator must learn to trust his father's judgment and follow through with the idea of the enemy pie, even though it feels silly and strange at first. Jeremy, too, has to trust the narrator and be open to the idea of sharing a meal with him, despite their earlier differences. The story highlights how, in order to make and maintain meaningful friendships, individuals must be willing to take risks, be vulnerable, and make an effort to understand one another. Humor as a teaching tool. The use of humor is one of the book's most effective tools. The idea of an enemy pie and the absurdity of its ingredients are funny in themselves, and they lighten the overall tone of the story. This humor also helps to convey serious messages in an approachable way. The pie represents the idea that resolving conflicts doesn't always have to be a heavy or stressful task. By adding humor to the mix, Munson shows that it's possible to approach difficult situations with a sense of playfulness and creativity. This approach makes the book accessible to children while still offering important lessons for adults. Illustrations. Tara Callahan King's illustrations perfectly complement Derek Munson's narrative, bringing the story to life with warmth and charm. The characters are drawn in a way that captures their emotions vividly, and the vibrant colors add an extra layer of liveliness to the story. The illustrations are expressive, highlighting the humor and sweetness of the plot, while also underscoring its more serious themes. The father's calm demeanor is reflected in his kind, gentle expressions, while the narrator's changing emotions are clearly shown through his body language and facial expressions. The illustrations also help convey the playful, whimsical tone of the book. The depiction of the pie-making process, complete with strange ingredients, is a visual delight that adds to the book's sense of fun. King's ability to balance humor with emotional depth is essential to the story's success, and her artwork elevates the narrative in a way that makes it even more engaging for young readers. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Head over to www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share the magic with friends. And let's grow together through the power of books and interesting stories.